it's time to check out the final game in the original Donkey Kong Country trilogy. It's Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. By far the most controversial game in the series, regarded as the worst by many, but some swear down it's the best one. So which is it? It can't be both now, can it? Well, obviously only my opinion matters, so let's find out for ourselves. So sit down, relax, get some snacks, donate to my Patreon, and listen to me talk about Donkey Kong Country for like a bleeding hour. Let's go!
I'm a lonely Goomba, stuck between two pipes. Well, guess I'll keep on gaming for the rest of my life.
So the game boots up, and immediately, it's weird. Not weird in a cool, quirky way, more in a, did I miss something kind of way? The previous games at least tossed you like a line or two of story. Here, it's nothing. You just plop into some random lake, Wrinkly explains how saving works, Funky casually hands you your giant baby cousin without as much as a hello, and he's just like, well, it's your problem now. He then gives us a boat, I go into this cave, and before I've even played a single level, I'm playing a bleeding Simon Says minigame. I mean, a lot is happening, but what the fuck is actually going on? What's my goal here? Where's DK? Or Diddy? Or Candy? Please tell me Candy Kong made it into this one. Please, I need to know. Right, so let's check out the old instruction book and get a grasp on this situation, shall we? Okay, so Diddy and Donkey Kong have gone missing and Dixie's looking for them. And that's it. Even the devs knew the story was shit, cause Cranky Kong doesn't even bother showing up to roast it this time. That man lives to talk shit, and even he went, I'll sit this one out. That's when you know things are bad. Right, so this time we're playing as Dixie, who plays the same as before, and the new character, Kiddy Kong. And let me tell you, people hate this guy. Like, he might be the most despised Kong in the whole series. But why? Is it the constant gormless expression, the vacant eyes, the annoying cry, the big giant wrinkly gross looking bottom lip, the gaping toothless void of a mouth? I mean, it could be, but really, I think the big issue here is that he basically plays the same as Donkey Kong from the first game. So why not just let us play as DK? Imagine Dixie and DK teaming up for the finale. It would have been such a neat full circle moment, but instead we're saddled with this overgrown toddler who has the personality of a damp washcloth. Like seriously, tell me one distinct thing about Kiddy. You can't. But really, I think people dislike Kiddy because it just feels like a waste of a character. It adds a further degree of separation from the original game, and it makes it feel a bit detached from what came prior. That, and it's just a bit annoying, you know? Someone at Nintendo clearly didn't get the memo that people dislike crying babies in video games. Gameplay wise though, he's fine. Big, heavy, strong. He's so heavy in fact that you can literally yeet him into the ground and smash it open. A move Donkey Kong goes out his way to explain like it's going to be a huge part of the game, and then it's only used like maybe 3 times, and one of them's on the first level. Outside of that, Kiddy Kong's just a heavy hitter, you know, he's got faster throws, stronger attacks, and a more horizontal throw compared to Dixie's upward tosses. But let's be real, I'm still picking Dixie like 90% of the time, and she's just more fun, I'm sorry. But enough about oversized stupid babies, let's get into the meat of the game. Now obviously, the prior 2 games are basically masterpieces, not only in gameplay and level design, but in atmosphere too. So how does this one hold up? Well, it definitely takes things in a different direction. I mean, tonally, we've gone from brooding, atmospheric locations to circus music, clownfish, derpy cremblings, robot bees, and fucking Frosty the Snowman over here. It's a lot to take in. I'd say the tone is a lot more goofy and lighthearted. Not only the music, but the levels and the art style. Everything's a bit more exaggerated. You got bigger heads, sillier faces, and it's all a bit jarring at first. That's not to say it can't do dark or moody anymore, because it does, but the tone feels way less consistent. And I think the best way to show you is to just walk through all the worlds, starting with Lake Orangatanga. A pleasant little spot. We got grassy fields, a calm lake, some cozy wooden huts, and even a sprinkle of snow. Very charming indeed. Except for that one hut that looks pissed off at me. What did I do? Oh right, yeah, that. We don't speak about that. So the first level keeps things breezy, and it's unlike anything else in the previous games, to be honest. They boldly mix water and platforming right out the gate. It's a risky move, but it works. And this backdrop is gorgeous for SNES standards. It's incredible. Then we're tossed in a mill, where the gimmick is pulling these levers to open doors and racing through them before they shut. Think Sandopolis from Sonic 3, except instead of a murderous ghost, it's a rat. Statistically speaking, rats kill more people than ghosts every year, so honestly, it's way scarier. After another lake level, we find ourselves on our first snow level. And I like how the Kremlins here are just flailing around like they've never seen ice before. It's like watching Bambi struggle over here. If Bambi was a murderous crocodile on a roof. I feel like we just stepped in on this guy having a crisis, to be honest. Oh well, best put him out of his misery, eh? Glad to see they kept the iconic sound. It's a classic. It's another fun level. I mean, it's nothing too crazy, but we're only on World 1. What do you expect? Oh, I think I spoke too soon. Because the next level tries to complicate things. First off, it's our first animal buddy focus level. And it's the new one, Ellie the Elephant. Real original name there, chaps. I mean, what's next? Howie the Hamster? Bloody Catty the Cat? I can't wait to see. Oh wait, never mind. This is basically the only new animal buddy in the game. Well, besides that stupid bird that follows you around, but does that even count? But to be fair, Ellie's actually got a fleshed out moveset, so you can vacuum up objects, chuck them, and even slurp up water to spit like a water gun. Take that, morbidly obese bird! Ellie's cool, although she did replace Rambi, so, you know, she loses a few points for that. Having said all that, for her first dedicated level, this isn't the best. See, it turns out Ellie has one crippling weakness. Rats. One look at them and she runs away screaming. Oh, come on now. That's embarrassing. So the whole stage is built around clearing them out so she doesn't freak. Which sounds clever, but it mostly means backtracking, yeeting barrels at rats and repeat. I mean, it's a nice idea, but yeah. It's not super fun, really. And just like that, we're on the first boss. And it's a giant living barrel that spits out smaller barrels. I did not see that one coming. It's actually a great boss, though. See, you can't actually damage this thing, and it's constantly coming towards you. So what you gotta do is feed it bugs and make it burp. This guy burps so hard, it bleeding projects him backwards. Jesus! That is a powerful burp. It burps so much, it fucking falls off the ledge and dies. Man, what a way to go. So how did you die again? Burped off a cliff. Right. But you know, if you want to hear those burps in the best possible sound quality, do I got the product for you? Because this video is sponsored by Raycon. It's their anniversary, and what better way to celebrate than with a big old deal on the Everyday Earbuds Classic, eh? 20% off these bad boys, so it's the perfect time to slap them in your ears if you ask me. I've been using these on my Switch since I've got them, and it's great. And with the active noise cancellation, I can block out all other distractions and responsibilities. Just me and the game, just how it should be. Heck, you can even pair these up with two devices at the same time, so I can avoid any human interaction for as long as possible. Let's go. And these things fit nicely too. None of that dropping out your ear nonsense. I mean, I don't even have ears if they've not fallen out. That's how you know it's good. I'm a big fan of these blush violet colour ones, by the way. What do you think? It really matches the colour of my eyes, right? I mean, look, these things sound great and charge up super fast, and the charging case hosts up to 32 hours of battery too. And if you get a protective case, it looks pretty swanky too. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, pretty fancy. Can't really go wrong, and here's a little secret, right? I shouldn't be saying this, but you'll be helping out the channel too if you buy one. Everyone wins. So, click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/LonelyGoomba to get a big old 20% discount off the Everyday Earbud Classics. Can't really go wrong with that price. So, big thanks to Raycon for sponsoring the video, but now, back to the game. And we just wrapped up World 1. Honestly, fantastic start. Lots of variety, some neat gimmicks, and a unique funny boss to cap it off. Very promising stuff. On to World 2, and it's Cremwood Forest. A pleasant little spot. Grassy fields, a river, a cozy wooden hut. Wait a minute, it's basically the same as the last world, except now it's the tree that's pissed off at me. I don't know what I did to upset all these inanimate objects, but I'm getting concerned. I mean, what's next? Is the fucking water gonna start calling me slurs in the next world? So this world introduces some new level themes. First up, these tree levels. It's a very vertical level, as you'd probably expect given the fact that the trees. I'm not sure why the music's so ominous though. I mean, I like it, but It's just a tree, bro. It's not that serious. It might be because of all these monkeys trying to kill us, though. Oh, wait, no. They're actually called minkies. I don't know. That sounds like it might be offensive. But these guys want you dead for real, though. It's non-stop. The entire level, they're just yeeting shit at you. Like, bro, you made your point. You can stop now. And the next level has us running away from a swarm of bees or something. It's funny, right? Because these enemies aren't, like, working for anyone. But wildlife here is just hostile as shit. So you've got to be quick. This level's interesting because it has a ton of ledges you just can't reach unless you do the super secret move, which is never explained in the game, and it's just hidden away in the instruction book. But Kitty can actually bounce across the water. With an incredibly, almost frame-perfect roll and jumps, you can skim across the water to new areas. A mechanic which some of you are watching right now probably didn't even know existed. You can go through this entire game and never know. But alas, here it is. It's a right pain in the ass to pull off though. I mean, you fuck up, you try again, you fuck up again, it's a bit of a nightmare. You know, it'd probably be easier to practice this without these fucking bees up my ass. Next up, another mill level. Nothing too interesting, and kill all the rats to open the door. Very similar to the first one. We then get another tree level, and again, a very similar layout to what we just played. And then another river level, but this one's is actually interesting. It uses all of Ellie's abilities in clever ways. As I said before, Ellie really is the most robust of the animal buddies, and it results in a good level. And the work caps off with a big ass spider boss. So, if you're scared of spiders, look away now. Well, I should have said that before showing the giant spider actually, but well, it's a thought that counts, right? Another good boss though. Grab the barrel and smack its face. The last hit is a bit annoying though. Keep shooting these loogies at me. One hit and it'll smash your barrel. You've got to go through the whole cycle again. My dudes, there's barely anywhere to go without getting hit. I mean, this is getting annoying. Oh wait, never mind. The old stand in the corner and dodge everything technique works wonders here. What a classic. So, we beat the boss and it drops this little bandage thing which allows Funky to repair the hovercraft, and now we get a new vehicle which lets us explore the next part of the world map. Let's go. Oh yeah, I'll talk more about the world map later by the way, you know, just in case you were getting a little bit angsty. So now we've got a choice between two worlds. It's your choice, but I'm starting with Cotton Top Cove. Similar theming to the other worlds, only way more water. Which brings us to our first full-on water level. And honestly, I kinda love the water levels in this game. It might be the best in this series. Donkey Kong Country 2 had water levels that felt like mazes half of the time, you know, with secret wars everywhere. I swear, sometimes I spent more time hugging the wars than actually having fun. But these are simpler, more linear, and just focused on dodging stuff. And I prefer that. The music and atmosphere is solid too. It's no aquatic ambience, but it works. That said, there's still tonal whiplash, like it's got dark, ominous music, and then there's a bleeding clownfish knocking about. I don't know if I should be scared or laughing, maybe both. We're then introduced to waterfall levels, and again, another quite vertical level. In fact, the more I think about it, a lot of the levels in this game are vertical. And we get these new rocket barrels, which, I mean, they're new, but they're kinda awkward. Timing them's a bit tedious, and it just feels like an extra step, but it's not really more fun than just a normal barrel. Still, solid level. The rest of the world sticks to familiar patterns. We've got a dock level, another waterfall stage, this time with barrels which you can move yourself, and another water level to wrap it up. And this final stage has a fun little gimmick. You gotta keep feeding this fish the right food to keep it happy. The instant you stop giving it food and attention, it tries to bite off your face. Typical woman, am I right, fellas? But yeah, that's World 3. Honestly, not the strongest one. It's nothing actively bad, but it feels a bit repetitive. And there aren't many standout levels. And it ends with a really, weird boss. A strange face embedded in the waterfall. It's kinda creepy. Unfortunately, this is the first real dud. The boss is underwhelming. You're basically just running circles, shoot its eyes, rinse and repeat. It only has one attack, which is absurdly easy to dodge, making the fight feel more like a chore than a challenge. So it's defeated by shooting water into his eyes, which is quite ironic. I mean, his face is literally fused with a waterfall. You'd think it'd be used to water by now. But hey, I'm not the weird wall-faced monster, so what do I know? Next up, we got Mykonos, an industrial-themed world. Well, nothing too interesting. Well, besides the floating island and yet another angry building. Honestly, the demand for evil-looking architecture must be for the roof here. Somewhere, an evil contractor is making mad bank. So as expected, the levels lean mechanical. We start off in a factory, home to these adorable little birds who want nothing more than to murder you. Like, are these even gremlins? Do they work for anyone, or do they just hate me personally? How can something so cute contain that much unfiltered rage? These little guys do not take a break. Constant harassment, like the feathery embodiment of using the internet. Next, the first minecart level, except it's not really a mine, and it's not a cart, but hey, it's close enough. So this one's set inside a giant pipe. So that's what it looks like inside there. All my life I've looked at pipes, and I never once wondered what's inside. Well, now I know. Robotic bees. I should have known. The stage itself is good. You can cling on the rails at the top, which is a neat touch, but honestly, it's not the most exciting cart level in the series. The layout is pretty bland, mostly just dodging a swarm of bees. Previous games used the layout to challenge you, but here it's more so just dodging a bunch of bees scattered about. Luckily, the next level picks things back up. Another tree climb, but now with a giant sword trying to kill you. The layout's pretty similar to past tree levels, sure, but the constant threat of imminent death keeps things intense. It's a simple idea, great execution, one of the most memorable levels in the game. Then we get another factory stage, and this one's pretty fun. It's built around these bazooka guys, these tiny little dudes, lugging around massive rocket launchers. They're definitely overcompensating for something, eh? The level itself straightforward, but it's super satisfying bouncing across a chain of barrels like always. And the world wraps up with another pipe level, this time with low gravity. Why? Why is it low gravity? I don't know. Gas? Science? Best not to think too hard about it, but Dixie's probably gonna develop lung cancer by the end of this level. So this gimmick is actually new to this series, but design-wise, it's basic. It's mostly just more bees. And about halfway through the level, it turns into a purple squawk section. This version can't even split nuts, or eggs, as many of you correctly pointed out. Nope, it just carries barrels. This makes killing all these bleeding bees even more tedious. This level's just way too long, man. I mean, the anti-gravity stuff was fine. We didn't need a whole massive squawk section too. So yeah, Mechanos in a nutshell. Some boring moments, but it's still good overall. And now the boss, Chaos. The game doesn't even really explain who he is, but according to the instruction book, he's the new Kremlin leader, which might explain why he's like the only boss with any dialogue. Honestly though, for the longest time, I thought he was just a regular boss fight, but the fight itself is awesome. You're dodging flames, you're hopping on some spinning blades, you're dodging punches, and you're smacking his head. Then the helmet pops off, and what the fuck is that? Big ass screen and sunglasses. Is that supposed to be like the Terminator? That looks absolutely fucking stupid. I'm sorry, that looks terrible. And now he's firing lasers at you whilst you're juggling everything else. This is a huge spike in difficulty compared to that waterfall boss, but gameplay wise, this might be one of the best bosses in the series. It's good stuff. Anyway, we beat him. He swears he'll return and drops some skis. Yeah, apparently even a giant killer robot needs hobbies. And with that, we unlock a new vehicle, the Turbo Ski. It's so fast, it can go up waterfalls, giving us access to the next world, K3. I don't really get it. It's probably reference to something. So this is a snow world of a game, and it's not much to say. That snow up there's pissed off at me, but what else is new? And despite being a snow-themed world, the world opens up with a cliff level. And like a lot of this game, it's another vertical level with a ton of ropes. The gimmick here is dodging barrel enemies whilst climbing up, but honestly, it's not really a strong enough idea to carry a whole stage, and we've basically seen this already. Next level spices things up a bit. It's another minecart level, only this time it's out in the snow. It's cool because layout wise, it's just like a normal level, only you're barreling down in a bobsleigh. It'll be like playing jungle japes in a minecart. Bro, imagine just chilling in your little winter cabin and a big ass gorilla in a bobsleigh just goes flying over your roof. No one would believe it. Still, maybe it's just me, but the controls feel a little bit janky here. I swear I pressed jump and nothing, just straight into the pit. Might be a skill issue, might be input lag, either way, I fell down that pit more times than I'd like to admit. Then we hit another waterfall level, and yeah, it's time to talk about it. This game has frame rate issues, like actual slowdown. Like, maybe it doesn't show that well in the video, but this game's running like ass at times. It's not just this level either, the penguin level in the same world struggles too. Look, it's not game breaking, but compared to the buttery smooth first two games, it's a bit of a letdown. This world also gives us the dedicated Squitter stage. And wow, talk about trial by fire. If this is your first time using him, good luck! The game just tosses you in the deep end. You gotta make your own platforms whilst this bastard is constantly shooting at you. I bet it's that fucking bird from earlier, you fucking knob. I hate that bird. And the boss of this world is perhaps the most bizarre fight in the entire series. It's a snowball fight with a snowman. What? It's a snowman essentially shooting cannonballs from his hat whilst constantly making this noise every 5 seconds. Bro looks like he's fucking coming. I don't know what to say. It's a very strange boss and I kinda hate it actually. But we're near the end of the game, so let's wrap this up. Next world is Razor Ridge, and let's be honest, it basically looks the same as the other worlds, but it does have a nifty little chairlift. This world doesn't get off to the best start either. I mean, the first level, it's yet another purple squawk stage, and I swear to God, this might be the most boring level in the entire franchise. Slowly flying barrels back and forth to kill bees, it's thrilling stuff. And if you mess up, you gotta fly back and forth over and over again. It's such a boring, tedious level. Next level ain't much better either. Remember how I said this game loves vertical levels and ropes? Well, here's a prime example. I mean, it's a cool concept. The rope's on fire and you've got to keep climbing up quickly. But in practice, it's just bees. It's always bees. I swear, there's entire design doc must have just said, if there's not bees on the screen, the player isn't having fun. We then get one of those classic dark water stages, this time focused on En Garde. And honestly, nothing bad to say here. The water levels continue to be surprisingly strong. If you told me 10 years ago that I'd be complimenting water levels, I'd have laughed at your face. After that, we get what's basically a mini Animal Antics, a level where you cycle through all your animal buddies. Sounds amazing on paper, right? But in practice, layout's forgettable. And to top it off, the frame rate tanks again. And to round things off, another cliff level, with ropes and bees. I mean, I'm not saying Rare ran out of ideas, but someone clearly copy-pasted like half of this world. Looking back, the only stage I actually enjoyed here was the water one. That's when you know we're living in the end times. And hold up, I just noticed the water has an evil face. I totally caught it. It's not calling me any slurs though, but still, close enough. Boss time, and thankfully, Razor Ridge redeems itself here. It's a multi-phase fight with a unique method of defeating it, and it is a proper challenge. I'm telling you, this game knows how to do water levels. It's another great boss if you ask me. Now, onto the final world, and honestly, if not for the castle plonked in the back, you'd barely know this was the finale. Compare this to Donkey Kong Country 2, got a giant tower, a fake out ending, and then an epic sky fortress. That game knew how to build up the hype. This one, it just kinda sneaks up on you. Where's the drama? The spectacle? It's about as climatic as a limp dick. At least we get some new level themes here. We've got these ancient looking woods and... hold up. Is that a fractone from Bonanza? Surely not. But look at those eyes, like, come on now. But honestly, this is the best level theme in the game. It's just classic DK platforming. It has the Donkey Kong flow. Sure, it has ropes and those bees keep popping up like uninvited guests, but it's still good stuff. Next stage introduces these ghost barrels. I mean, ghost ropes was already pushing it, but ghost barrels? Do barrels have souls now? If so, DK is in big trouble come Judgment Day. Bros are flat out mass murder at this point, but the level itself is just a waiting game, hanging around for the barrels to point the right way. Squitter shows up here too, just make sure this doesn't happen. Oh dear lord. Then comes the river stage with the constant thunder strikes, and this one's actually pretty awesome. The tension of the lightning striking you the entire time really keeps up the pace, and the game finds interesting ways to use this gimmick all within one level. See, the game can have fun gimmicks when it tries, it's just a shame the frame rate keeps dipping again. It's just too much for the SNES to handle, I guess. And then there's another level which brings a new gimmick too. You got these charging enemies that knock you right off the stage. It's kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. You gotta be spot on in the middle to land on these things. Just a little bit to the side and you'll bounce off, usually into a pit. God damn it. It's not a bad level though, it's just unforgiving. And finally, the last stage. And it's a water level with reverse controls. Yep, that's the grand finale. Not a gauntlet, not a platforming masterclass, but swimming being slightly more annoying. Ingard's basically invincible if you spam his attack anyway, so it's not even threatening. It's just tedious. It's about as climatic as a limp dick. Wait, I already made that comparison. How about, it's about as climatic as, Nah, I got nothing. It's a limp dick. So, final boss time, and Chaos returns, the most iconic villain of all time. And this fight is basically the same as last time, only now you've got to yeet a barrel into his head, and then, his head turns into this. Oh, what the fuck is that? I'm fighting a fucking dildo as a final boss. Anyway, we beat Chaos, and it turns out it was being controlled by K. Rool this whole time. Yeah, he was just hiding behind this curtain. I never suspected a thing. So now, K. Rool has ditched his pirate persona and is a mad scientist. He then talks about his wife, and then makes a Scooby-Doo reference, and it's kind of ridiculous. But onto the fight itself, and it's quite interesting. See, he just flies side to side. He can't even hurt you most of the time. If he moved just like 2 inches more, we'd be screwed. But nope, the fight's more of a puzzle than a battle. There's lots of phases, there's specific safe spots he can stand, there's patterns to learn, but it's essentially dodge him and lob barrels at his backpack. It's tough, but it's more trial and error than quick reflexes and reacting in a moment. Honestly, it feels more like a big moving obstacle than a boss. And he looks goofy as hell whilst doing it. Looks like he's stuck in a perpetual wedgie. But eventually we beat him. And surprise twist, DK and Diddy were trapped inside Chaos this whole time. I guess K. Rool poured a Dr. Eggman and powered his robots with live animals. And that's your ending. It's a bit lame for the end of the entire trilogy, I'm not gonna lie. But we know the drill by now, right? We're not actually done yet, because just like before, this game is hiding a lost world. The twist this time, you don't just walk in, you've got to solve a riddle. And by solve a riddle, I mean spin your boat in circles around some rocks a few times. And that's it. That's the riddle. Eat your heart out, Sherlock Holmes. And just like that, boom, crematoa. To be fair, you can visit here pretty early on, but without enough bonus coins, you won't get very far. And yep, that means it's time to track down all those bonus barrels hidden across the levels. Thankfully, it's not as much of a headache as the last games. This is probably the easiest batch in the trilogy. There's no invisible walls, there's no blind leaps of faith, no barely invisible hooks, nothing. The trickiest ones are probably in these levels. They keep hiding them behind the bleeding trees, it's alright, pain in the ass to spot. And then there's a few where you only get one attempt at the very end of the level, meaning you've got to retry the entire stage just to try again. It's annoying. Not only that, but if you fail the bonus room, the game sometimes respawns you bleeding miles away from the barrel. Like I don't have a clue where I am sometimes, so you'll end up going the wrong way and miss it completely. The anti-gravity level, right, puts you so far ahead, you have no chance of finding it again. It's right, tedious. Still, the bonus challenges themselves are actually pretty fun this time. Some are a bit trickier than the prior games too, but nothing too bad. In fact, a couple are downright clever, like this one where you get to control that stupid cursor from earlier, but now you get to shoot. The hunter becomes a hunted baby. So yeah, all in all, not a bad scavenger hunt. Now onto the Lost World, and whilst not as intimidating as the one from Donkey Kong Country 2, the music is still unnervingly creepy for what is basically bonus content. First stage then, Stampede Sprint. It's one giant auto-runner where you play as Ellie the Elephant, panicking and sprinting away from a bunch of rats. Bro, relax, the rat's like 100 miles back at this point. I think you'll survive. Still, it's a neat idea, it's just punishing as hell if you're trying to get 100%. You've got to get this fragile little bird all the way to the end just to spawn the bonus barrel. And if you fail, back to the start. No checkpoints, it's probably the hardest one in the entire series. Next up is yet another cliff stage. And yep, ropes and barrels again. Though to be fair, the barrel gimmicks here are at least a little bit more interesting. After that, we get the cave stage with the chunky lads. These new enemy types show up really late into the game, and they're probably the hardest enemies to dodge. This might be the hardest level in the game. That is, unless you find the hidden squitter. Then you can just go on a murder spree for like half of it. It's great. We then get another tree level, and again, it actually introduces a new enemy. I mean, to be honest, this world kind of reeks of unused content that didn't make it into the main game. But it's a great level with some tricky platforming. Finally, we hit the last level of the Lost World, Rocket Rush. Easily one of the strangest levels in the series. You hop into this rocket, you're plummeting down whilst picking up fuel cans, and nothing can even hurt you. Then at the bottom, the rocket suddenly ignites and you're blasted upwards. Now it's a race to get to the top in time, and if you smack the ceiling, you're basically toast. It's a mixture of memorization and reflexes, but it's not great, is it? It's probably one of the worst final levels I can think of. And this is the same game, but just at that bleeding reverse water level. But alas, finishing it triggers K. Rool's submarine to rise from the depths. And it's time for the true final boss. And holy shit! This thing kicked my ass. At first glance, it looks similar, but this version is way less forgiving. K. Rool wants you dead. You got cannons firing, you got electricity crackling all over the place, the floor's moving around beneath you. It's chaos. The biggest fuck you moment comes right at the end, when suddenly you're expected to use his barrels to absorb electricity. A mechanic that's never been explained and never used before, and it gives you like 5 seconds to figure it out before you're fried and sent all the way back to the start. And even if you do figure it out, you need to have pinpoint aim, or the barrel won't even respawn in time and you'll die anyway. Combine that with a moving floor and it's honestly brutal the first time playing this boss. But once you learn the pattern, it's a piece of piss. Just take some time, you know. And I beat him. And wow, what a weird payoff. You don't even really get an ending. You don't get nothing. I mean, did I miss something? Well, yeah, I did actually. Turns out there's one more step. See, something I haven't talked about yet with this game is how the world map doubles as a mini adventure game. You can freely explore some parts and you find these hidden caves and rescue these banana birds by playing Simon Says. These things always struck me as a bit freaky, but I mean, compared to the banana aliens, it's basically nothing. Fun fact, but these birds actually appeared in early concept art for Donkey Kong Country 2, so I guess Ray just slipped them in this one and hoped no one would notice. Well, I did. The map is also packed with NPCs. Wrinkly's here, Swanky shows up with a bunch of crappy ball-throwing carnival games against Cranky Kong some reason. This kinda sucked to be honest, and you're probably not playing more than once. But the real stars of the show are the Brother Bear. A whole family of them, each with their own little side quests and personalities. Most of them do boil down to just trading items, although one of them wants you to beat a time trial in one of the levels. The neat part is that some of them actually change the map itself, fixing the chairlift, blowing up rocks, opening shortcuts, or dropping a cryptic hint for secrets. It's a clever idea, although to be honest, some of the secrets are a little bit obtuse. Like here, you've got to press up in the middle of nowhere to go to this hidden cabin, and then go left there to find the secret cave. There's no indication or nothing. Bro, it took me ages to find this. It was like the last bleeding bird I needed for the entire game. So yeah, usually these quests reward you with banana birds, but to unlock Funky's final vehicle upgrade, you also need to collect every DK coin. And it's the same deal as last time, one per stage. Only now, instead of just grabbing it, you've got to take out a Kremlin with his shield using a metal barrel. It's a neat little puzzle mechanic. Hit him from behind and the coin's yours. Most of them are fine, although a few of them are a right pain in the ass. Luckily, the barrels do respawn if you mess it up. Well, most of the time. Some levels only give you one shot and, that kind of sucks. Get all the coins and you unlock the Gyrocopter. And this lets you freely explore the entire map and scoop up the last few banana birds. Which basically means playing Simon Says over and over, like a lot. It's hilarious really. You beat K. Rool, you save the Kongs, and now the game's just like, right, let's play some Simon Says till you go insane. It's a weird way to spend the final moments, but once you've gotten them all, you'll free this giant ancient banana bird, and then the story just goes full on fever dream. We've gone from Terminator Kremlin robot to ancient banana bird prophecies. The big bird then chases K. Rool around the map whilst he flails like a moron. It drops a giant egg on him Looney Tunes style, and that's it. The game's done. Cranky does some sick tricks, and we all go home a bit confused. I gotta be honest, that entire sequence was fucking bizarre. Oh, and they also give you a leaderboard ranking. I missed the top spot by 30 minutes. That fucking sucks. But that's basically the game. Now, there is actually harder difficulties by entering some cheat codes, which allows you to get 105%, but I ain't doing all that. So that's Donkey Kong Country 3. And yeah, I clearly had a lot to say about this one. This video is going to be longer than the bleeding Kong family's tax returns. But what do I actually think of it? And honestly, I'm mixed. On one hand, the game nails the world building. Everything feels connected like a real lived-in place. The characters, the consistent themes, the little touches. It's a world which you can really imagine people falling in love with. But then you actually play the levels and that's where it kind of falls apart. They start off strong, but towards the later half, it has some issues. I mean, the core problem is, they're just not that fun. Donkey Kong Country 3 is the king of stop and start gameplay. It keeps tossing gimmicks at you, like constantly, but so many of them aren't actually that enjoyable. Half of the time it's the opposite. At a glance, it looks like classic Donkey Kong Country, but when you step back and think about what you're actually doing in each level, it's completely different, and not always in a good way. Where the first two games had that smooth, flowing platforming rhythm, this one has you slowly lugging barrels around, sneaking past rats, fumbling with reverse controls, or climbing up ropes whilst dodging bees for the 500th time. It all blends together into this weird, tedious blob of an experience. It just kinda ends with not much fanfare, you know? Now don't get me wrong, it's not a bad game, far from it. It's solid, but it's nowhere near the level of its predecessors, I'm sorry. Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 are like solid 10 out of 10s. This one, it's like a 7, maybe an 8. Yeah, it's probably an 8. It's still a worthy sequel, but it's not a masterpiece. But anyway, enough of that. Time to jump into the next version with Donkey Kong Land 3 on the Game Boy. And like last time, it's not really a direct port, it's more of a squished down remake, only this time. Things get interesting, because in Japan, they actually made a Game Boy Color version too. Why? Well, I have no idea. But since that one has nicer visuals, that's the version I'll mostly be focusing on. You know, for the sake of the video. If you're actually watching it, yeah, I'm onto you. Only listening to the video right now. Don't think I don't know. Wait a second. Apparently Kiddy Kong's Japanese name is Dinky. Dinky Kong. You know what? That actually sounds better. I'm not tripping, right? Dinky Kong. Yeah, I kinda like that. Anyway, after a few minutes with this version, it becomes pretty obvious. This isn't a straight port of the SNES game at all. The world map's been completely gutted. It's 100% linear now. No exploration, no banana birds, no side quests, heck, no Funky Kong. In fact, there are literally no other Kongs at all besides Wrinkly, which is kinda depressing. Poor Wrinkly. Must be lonely out there. You know what? Actually, this might be my chance to shoot my shot. Move aside, Candy Kong! Don't judge me. So, all the level themes are here, but unlike Donkey Kong Land 2, they don't even bother replicating the layouts from a SNES game. There's no low gravity, there's no giant saws, no rat sacrifices to open doors, no rocket ship, no nothing. The layouts are completely original, and frankly, pretty solid. Because everything's simpler and less gimmick heavy, the game weirdly enough captures that Donkey Kong Country flow that was missing. It keeps moving, it feels good, and you're not getting bogged down on shit you don't care about. But here's the problem, right? It's just even classed as a port. I mean, Land 1 was basically all new. Land 2 was much closer to being a standard port. But this one's kinda stuck in the middle. But you know, it is essentially a different version of Donkey Kong Country 3, so I'm gonna include it. And visually, the game looks pretty great. All the level themes made it in and they didn't skimp out on the details. These backgrounds are surprisingly detailed and they've even got weather effects like rain and snow. And since this is the Game Boy Color version, you don't have that blaring into the background issue anymore. I can see clearly now the grey has gone. Sorry about that. Having said that, it's clearly not on the same level as, say, a game built from the ground up for the Game Boy Color. It's stuck in this weird middle zone where the backgrounds look nice, but the characters and enemies are basically monochrome blobs. Compare this to, say, Wario Land 3, and you can see the difference in quality despite being on the same system. Now, well, at least the music's a bop this time. All the tracks are expertly, demade, with way more variety than Land 2, thank God. I still get flashbacks to bleeding Lockjaw Saga, dear lord. And to top it off, they nailed the controls too. Everything feels just right. Even climbing ropes, which was a bit janky in Land 2 sometimes. I mean, it's perfect. Now, I would cover the world again, but if you thought the SNES version blurred together, oh boy, this takes it to another level. The world maps have no distinct identity. I could show you literally any world, and you wouldn't know if it was from the beginning or the end. Level themes aren't even loosely tied to specific worlds either, really, they're just scattered about. It just feels like one continuous path in the same location, which I guess it is. But some variety wouldn't hurt. Throw in a chairlift or something, anything man, I'm desperate. The actual level design is solid but simple. And since almost every unique gimmick got cut, most levels kinda play out the same. Same enemies, straightforward layout, it flows great in the moment, but nothing really stands out. You won't remember a single stage 5 minutes after clearing it. But hey, at least the game relies a lot less on spamming a bunch of robot bees. But even so, sometimes you just wish for a bit more. Even Land 2 had balloons and wind gimmicks. Besides these special barrels and a few minecart levels, there's not much here. The water levels take a big hit too. On the SNES they were amazing, but here they're bland as hell. Without that hungry fish or the light switch gimmicks, every underwater level feels basically the same. Add in the tiny Game Boy screen and you're constantly taking damage from off-screen enemies which you just can't react quick enough. The same goes for those bouncy bastards in the other levels actually. They pop in before you can even react. I mean honestly, just delete them from the game. I'm sick of their bullshit. To the game's credit though, it does make a great first impression. I was seriously blown away, but around World 4 the cracks start to show. There's a lack of variety and a sense of creeping tedium. The only real spice comes from the animal buddies, and they're used just enough where they're still fun every time. Everyone's back too. You got Squawks who's still fun, Engard who's still OP, Squitter who still has that awkward select button attack, and Ellie, who has been completely butchered. Bro, she doesn't even show up till World 4, and even then, it's just one level. She can't move objects, she can't carry barrels, she can't make platforms, she can't suck up water, she can't do shit. All she could do is spit water. But even that feels like ass, as she sort of just freezes in place every time. Game did us a favour only using her once, so it sucks. Although to give her credit, she did overcome her fear of rats, so good for her. So what about the bosses? Well, not bad. They didn't all make the cut, mind you. The barrel guy's gone, replaced by that water boss, which is a bizarre choice for the first boss. The poor dude got demoted from World 6 to 1. Oh, you hate to see it. At least it's a fun fight. Next is that snowman, and now instead of a weird minigame, it's just a straight up boss fight. He just awkwardly stands there looking a bit uncomfortable. Do you know how many snowmen would kill to have legs, and here you are just wasting them? Pathetic! Having said that, I gotta be honest, I think I prefer this version. Then we get the giant spider, except he's not giant, he's a little small boy. So small in fact, that you can just jump on it to kill it. No barrels needed, just squish it like a bug. Not a huge fan of this boss though. Sometimes jumping on him damages you, but there's no visual indication. At least flash red or something, I don't know, it's kinda dumb. Chaos then shows up too, mostly unchanged, but there's no fire this time, so you can just crouch under like half of his attacks. His head doesn't pop off with that goofy ass grin either, but to me, that's an improvement. Overall, very solid conversion. Anyway, we get to World 5, and the devs suddenly remember that they had level themes left in the cupboard. We finally get the sewer theme, and right after that, we get our very first cave level, with ghost barrels, and even a new enemy. These levels are actually really fun, which just raises the question, why the heck did they hide these themes so late into the game? Spread this stuff out, man. The game needed for variety. Anyway, we go into this hole and hold up. What? We're on the final boss? What the fuck? I had no idea this was the last world. Oh, I'm like speechless. That was so sudden. I didn't even have time to prepare. 1 minute you're in a cave, next minute, K-Rool's squatting in the sewer like some kind of bum. He doesn't even make a Scooby-Doo reference this time, nothing. And the boss is completely different from the original, and incredibly easy. Does a few attacks, throw a barrel, and he's dead before it even starts. He doesn't even get a death animation, it just sort of ends. He then zooms off into this hole, and before he can even blink, the credits start. It's honestly one of the most abrupt endings I've ever seen. I mean, imagine playing like Ocarina of Time, right? You're halfway through Jabu Jabu's belly, and suddenly Ganon shows up, dies in one hit, jumps down a pipe, and the credits come up. I mean, that's what it feels like. Luckily, there's a post-game. So you chase K-Rool down into that pipe, and he tells you to collect all the DK coins. And what's funny is, right, they did not even try with the DK coins this time. Half of them are sitting right in front of you, sometimes literally at the start of the level. The once great DK coin has been demoted to participation trophy. It's sad to see. Bonus barrels are at least a bit better, nothing too crazy, but more hidden than right in front of your face. And unlike the SNES version, failing a bonus stage just spits you right out next to it, so you can instantly retry, it's much better. But finding these is pretty easy to be honest. Basically, if you see an arrow made of bananas pointing somewhere, just go the opposite direction. It's actually comical how many times the game does this. No wonder I've got trust issues with games like this. Of course, some secrets are still total BS, falling into random holes, invisible barrels, misleading visual clues, the usual shit we've come to terms with. But for the most part, I had absolutely no issue getting these. And if you're really stuck, you can pay these bears for hints. Assuming you can read Japanese. I mean, for all I know, I just gave him 2 coins to spit in my face. I have no idea what's going on here. Speaking of bears, that's how you get the last few DK coins. You collect bonus coins, which lets you play this matching minigame, which wins you a DK coin and a clock. What do clocks even do? I mean, they weren't in the original game, but alas, we make it to the Lost World. And to the surprise of no one, it looks exactly the same as every other world. Having said that, it's the best one in the game. We get our second minecart level, an underwater cave, and holy shit, even Ellie returns. But it's just for like 20 seconds. I mean, they really did not like Ellie in this game, did they? And this world finally uses a lot of the level themes they awkwardly hoarded until the end of the game. It doesn't resemble the SNES version at all, but that's fine, because it gives the game a real second wind. And oh my god, there's actually a castle at the end. It's a proper finale, way better than a random ditch on the side of a road. But it's pretty obvious that this world is not the Lost World, it's just the final world which will lock behind 100% completion. We then fight K. Rool again, who's now actually threatening. He zooms around, he throws bombs, he zaps the arena, and it's tough. But mostly because the screen's just too small, so you can't see what the hell's happening. But at least it feels like he's actually trying to kill you this time. Anyway, we beat him, we teleport to a starting line, he gives us a bunch of clocks, and he tells us to play time attack mode. And that's it. That might genuinely be the worst ending ever. So yeah, those clocks we collected earlier unlocks a time attack mode. And I gotta be honest, it's kinda brutal. Some levels require near perfect runs, whilst others are weirdly easy. And then there's shit like these RNG ghost barrels and this water level that seems utterly impossible. No matter what you do, you're not even close. Well, guess what? Turns out there's an invisible barrel here which skips like a ton of the level. Well, how in the flying fuck was I supposed to know that? This took me so many attempts, and it's kinda ironic that the final challenge in the game came down to an invisible barrel. Typical. But I did it. Donkey Kong Land 3, 103% completed. We get a little gold trophy, and the game is over. And I gotta say, it's really weird how this game didn't have like an actual ending. We have K. Rool fucking off down this pipe, and then we have him just telling us about time attack. Like, what's this guy even a villain? We don't even rescue Diddy or DK. In fact, what was even the story of this game? Well, according to the instruction book, it's just a race to find the Lost World. Okay, but it was down a pipe just down the road. Mystery solved, I guess. We don't even get credit. I mean, I feel so unsatisfied. But despite all that, I actually love this game. I mean, Land 3 blew me away more than I ever expected. Sure, it lacks variety, but the gameplay's smooth, the levels are fun, and the Lost World is a fantastic closer. It might not outshine the SNES version as an overall package, but as a Game Boy game, it's phenomenal. I mean, honestly, Donkey Kong Land 3 is a better Game Boy game than Donkey Kong Country 3 is a SNES game, if that makes any sense. This game isn't just a little novelty, it's actually something worth checking out today, and you can tell it pushes the Game Boy to its limits. This makes me curious, how does the original monochrome version hold up? Is it secretly yes? Well, let's find out. Well, first up, for whatever reason, the world maps are actually way more animated. The water moves, there's little smoke effects, the houses light up, and this looks better, right? Heck, even the NPCs have more animation, but it's a bit weird as this came out before the Game Boy Color version. Downside is, as expected, the lack of colour does bring some issues. Granted, most levels are fine, but then you have these waterfall levels and it's like going back to Land 1. Shit be blending into the background, I'm telling you. It's hard to tell what's going on sometimes, and the sewer levels are freaking pitch black. It's kinda spooky. Now, I've heard this version has some slowdown, but I gotta be honest, didn't really notice it. So if there's any, it's nothing major, but that's about it. So we get better animations, but it's held back by being on the Game Boy, as expected really. Still, it's a great game, but you might as well play the other version, you know? So anyway, before we check out the Game Boy Advance version, it's time to stick to tradition and wade into the wonderful world of bootlegs. And this time we've got 2. One for the classic Game Boy, and the other for, well, you're not gonna believe this, the frickin' Sega Mega Drive, or the Genesis for you Americans. Donkey Kong on a Sega console. I just felt a disturbance of the force. But anyway, let's dive in. The first version then, and holy shit, this music. Sounds like someone's having a stroke, it's fucking tragic. The game starts and we're greeted with these blurry ass images. I think that's supposed to be Funky Kong though, so that's 1 point over Land 3 already. Now before I just rip this thing apart, I'm gonna throw it a bone, okay? The visuals, actually not bad. They don't try to copy the Land style, instead going for a more traditional look, but it works, especially the characters. Well, I say characters, but you can only play as Kitty in this game. As for the content, we've got a whopping 2 level themes stretched across 4 levels. It's just a short game, but the problem is, it controls like ass. Everything's so stiff and stilted, it's like wading through mud whilst covered in glue. A relatable scenario, I'm sure. Jumping feels rigid too, the momentum's all off. But hey, at least you can chain bounces together without randomly dying like the last bootleg. And that's good, because bouncing's all you've got really. You can't even roll this time. There are barrels, but they don't even really protect you, and throwing them is next to worthless, as it just does this every time. You ain't hitting shit with a limp ass throw like that. And once I got stuck with a barrel and I couldn't even do anything, it just glitched out. Basically, you're better off just avoiding these barrels at all cost. It's not worth it. And the game even has swimming. And somehow, it's even worse. It's so janky. These little clownfish here turn into absolute nightmares. Easily the hardest thing of the whole game. There's no bosses in this game, so I guess this bleeding fish here is basically the final boss. Move aside, Kevu, there's a new king in town. And on the final level, we even get to play as Ellie, and she looks good too. I'm kinda shocked. Granted, she can't do anything other than jump, but still. So we beat the game, we get another blurry image, and it's over. And yeah, that kinda sucked. Definitely not the worst bootleg I've played, and if they added a roll and better controls, it would be oddly decent. But no, it's completely shit. Now onto the Sega version. And you know the old saying, right? Genesis does what Nintendo don't. Well, in this case, that's not a compliment, because I'm telling you now, this might be the worst thing I've ever played on the channel. At first glance, it looks fine. And hey, you can actually play as Donkey Kong in Donkey Kong Country 3. Dreams do come true. But then you notice the enemies and it's a total mashup. You got clumps, snakes, those hook guys, dragonflies, bazooka chaps. Someone just tossed every single bleeding Donkey Kong Country enemy into a blender here. You could even call this the ultimate Donkey Kong Country game in a lot of ways, but I mean, you'd be wrong, but you could say that. Gameplay though is absolute trash. There's no roll attack again, which is apparently a bootleg tradition, and the jumping somehow feels worse than the Game Boy game. It's borderline unplayable. The first few levels are at least serviceable, capping off with a boss fight against a giant wasp that just shows up. There's no boss music, no build up, nothing. It looks lost, like it's just wandered in from the wrong game. But once you hit level 4, the game nosedives off a cliff. Random instant death trapdoors you can't predict. Chimps chucking crap backwards, with the worst hit detection imaginable and awkward jumps that clearly no one tested. It's a nightmare. There's no checkpoints either, so every run is a gauntlet of misery. I legit could not beat level 4. This game broke me, man. And the sound design is the cherry on top. Donkey Kong makes crumling noises. Crumblings sound like screeching tires. And the birds scream like something out of Silent Hill. None of it makes sense. Honestly, I couldn't handle it, and even if I did push through, the later levels apparently don't even use Donkey Kong Country 3 themes. It's just a Frankenstein monster of random assets. Definitely one of the worst things I've ever played, and ironically the very first Sega Genesis game I covered on the channel. What a way to start! But we need to get that bad taste out of our mouths, so let's go back to our Lord and Saviour Nintendo and check out the final version, this time on the GBA. Now, the prior games on the GBA were quite interesting. In a lot of ways, they were better. They had more content, bonus games, more things to collect, but the visual downgrade and overall presentation really dragged them down. So, how does this one hold up? Well, first off, the opening and title screen is way better than the original. Kevu's sub smashes through the logos, leading onto this slick title screen with new music. Honestly, it's miles ahead what the SNES one was doing. But let's get to the elephant in the room. How's the visuals? Well, unlike the prior remakes, it's pretty good. Holy crap, they finally did it. Maybe it's because the SP had been out for a while now, or maybe Donkey Kong Country 3 is just brighter in general, but most of this game looks shockingly solid. Not as good as the original, but good enough. The docks, woods, caves, even the pipes, it all looks good, and some areas look like they were ripped straight from the SNES completely, like the Banana Bird Caves or Kevu's Castle. It's perfect. That's not to say everything got through unscathed. I mean, the mill levels look fucking awful for some reason. The fuck is going on with the background? And some of the alternative colour schemes they use there, they ain't really working. I mean, this is awful. But overall, it solves the issue I had with the prior versions, or at least lessens the blow. But visuals are only a small factor really. How's the game? Does it add any new features and goodies? If I was gonna guess, it's gonna be a bunch of crappy minigames. Maybe funky fishing if we're lucky. Well, first off, like the other ports, the world map has been completely redone. It's the same general layout, but way bigger, and honestly, I prefer it. I mean, Donkey Kong Country 3 leans into that adventure vibe, and making the map grander really sells it. Each level gets its own little spotlight on the map too. The only issue really is the secret banana bird caves. On this bigger map, they're right pain in the ass to find. Some of them don't have visual clues at all, so you end up just mashing A against a bunch of walls like a bleeding idiot. Maybe there's an NPC that tells you, but I didn't see it. Speaking of NPCs, the bears have been completely redesigned. Instead of a lineup of identical dopey looking kits, they all have unique designs and locations. One's chilling in a hot tub, one's a gardener, one's a pirate with a giant shark busting through a ship. All of them have way more personality, which really enhances the whole side quest stuff. Existing NPCs get a shake up too. Wrinkly now chills in an ancient temple, tying her more to the banana birds. Funky's workshop got extended, so you can actually walk up to his vehicles, which is neat. And Cranky even gets more attention now. He pops up in these dojos where you can play a minigame, blocking hedgehogs with his shield. It's stupidly easy, and it never seems to change, despite showing up multiple times across the game. It's not terrible, but there's just nothing to it. Thankfully, you only need to do it once, so it's not intrusive. Swanky returns too, but instead of carnival games, he has a metal tunnel with a 3D star collecting minigame. I don't get the connection really. I mean, now we're playing a bleeding Sonic the Hedgehog special stage of all things. Each world has a different pipe layout, but the requirements are so difficult, you'll probably fail over and over. And the prize for winning isn't even good. Luckily, like Cranky, you only need to beat it once, which is probably for the best. And the final batch of minigames comes from our old bud Funky Kong. We've got 4 boat-related missions: shooting Kremlings, hauling mines back to base, protecting your Kong family, which is always weird seeing the extended Kong family in a country game, and finally, a good old-fashioned race. They're fun, and it makes sense considering the setting. These are by far the best minigames in the game. Fun fact, but these minigames are all referencing Cobra Triangle, an old rare game on the NES. It's a cool little Easter egg. But yeah, these are way better than those shitty gyrocopter games from the last one. And that's it for the minigames. Nothing too special, but overall, nothing that really makes the experience worse. So what else is new? Well, here's the big one. The entire soundtrack has been completely redone from scratch, all with original tunes. They even got the composer back from the first 2 games to return, and it completely changes the tone of the game. Say, this is the original. And this is a new one. What was once bombastic, almost over-the-top music is now gentle and atmospheric. Some stages even change music depending on if you're underwater. It's a cool detail, and there's even a spiritual successor to aquatic ambience in this game. It's amazing stuff. Personally, I prefer this soundtrack. The atmosphere fits the game beautifully. That said, it doesn't always land. Some tracks take forever to build up, but the levels aren't that long, you know. You'll be like halfway through before the melody even kicks in. And some levels just get completely butchered too. The giant saw chase doesn't really hit the same with this little jolly tune, you know. And I don't know what the fuck is going on with this snow level. It doesn't fit at all. The Banana Bird Queen lost her theme completely too. You just get generic NPC music. It's a big downgrade there. Completely butchers that scene. But despite all that, the music's still really great. But let's talk about the biggest addition to the game. They actually added a whole new world. Holy crap, that's huge! And they must have heard me praising the water levels in this game because they basically made an entire world full of them. And it's good. It starts off with a pipe stage that mixes platforming and swimming, and about 100 fish spammed everywhere. Chill lads, you think that's enough fish? Then you've got a new nighttime pier, and even a bleeding underwater tree stage. I didn't see that one coming, but it works. Next level ditches the water, instead focusing more on barrels, which made me realise Donkey Kong Country 3 really does not have much barrel blasting, does it? Like, do these spinning barrels even exist in the original game? This is like the only barrel blasting level in the game. It's basically the closest thing you'll get to Donkey Kong Country 3 Bramble Blast. Then comes the hardest level in the world. Remember that windy squawk section from Donkey Kong Country 2? Well, it's back, but underwater. You need some crazy precision here. You basically got to master the swimming. It's fucking tough. Easily the hardest water stage in the entire series. Honestly, if this wasn't tucked away in the Game Boy Advance version, this would be infamous. And then the world ends with another minecart level. It's probably the toughest in the game, but it's nothing too wild. Now, what's weird is, despite being a new world, the boss isn't new. Instead, it's this guy again, which begs the question, what replaced that boss in the original world? And well, just like Donkey Kong Country 2, this version has a new boss. And what in the sweet Jesus is that? That looks fucking shit. What the fuck? Did they just completely forget how to make 3D models in the Donkey Kong style? Visually, this is actually pathetic. Even those bombs look like they're from a completely different game. Bit of a deep cut here, but they look like they're from Saber War from the GBA. Like, they just slapped it in this game, I'm telling you. The fight itself's nothing special either. You gotta dodge it, bait the Pac-Man claws into hitting the bombs, and repeat. It gets a bit tricky towards the end, but it feels rushed, like they just realised late in development they needed something here to fill the void, and just cobbled this together. It's pretty bad. Other bosses got tweaks too. Remember that shitty waterfall boss? Well, they made it way more aggressive, making it a serious challenge, and actually good. I'm amazed how much better this boss is. Chaos did get nerfed though. His laser attack is pathetic. It doesn't even try to hit you. It makes this fight way easier, but not for the better sadly. And finally, the snowman doesn't sound like he's jizzing his pants when you hit him. The boss still sucks, but still. It's just small things in life, you know? Some levels were tweaked too, like those shield guys are easier to land on, which makes that stage way less frustrating. And they made the bonus game at the end of Stampede Sprint way easier. Thank God for that. But they didn't make that rocket level easier though, oh god no. Before, you could just smash through everything like an invincible maniac, but now you take damage. A once simple stage has turned into hell on earth. The bees are everywhere, and it's unclear how to even kill them. Maybe hitting the sides of the rockets? I don't know, it's inconsistent at best. There's no checkpoint at the bottom now either, so you've got to do it all in one go. It's absolutely brutal, but fitting for the final secret level. But just be prepared, it's pretty tough. And perhaps the cherry on top of this version, they fixed the frame rate issues. They're basically non-existent. The levels that struggled before are silky smooth. Ironically, those new levels seem to have more frame rate issues, but what do you expect when you're spamming like 50 enemies on the screen at once? But yeah, another improvement over the original. And that's the game. There's no time attack or score attack mode like the prior remakes, which is a shame as DK attack was a hidden gem of a mode. But overall, I had an absolute blast with this. Better music, better presentation on the whole really, a whole new world, a new boss, some fun minigames, and a better performance. The only downside is a few ugly levels, but nothing major. Like, I'd never thought I'd say this, but this is better than the original if you ask me. They actually pulled it off. And that's it. Every version of Donkey Kong Country 3. And some bootlegs to boot. And if I also rank them, it'll be the Genesis game at the bottom. Then the Game Boy bootleg, followed by Land 3, the SNES version, and at the top, the GBA port, finally dethroning the original. They did it. What? Thanks for watching, guys. Never thought I'd make a bleeding hour-long video about Donkey Kong Country 3 of all things, but here we are. I have now played every version of the trilogy. I played so much Donkey Kong Country that it's not even funny, to be honest. And as I look back and reflect back on everything, I've come to the realisation that Candy Kong wasn't in any of his versions. What the fuck, Ray? She's the only reason I played any of his shitty games. Fuck you. And the Goomba of the month is Syrupy. You know, from the hit series Syrupy Mario Bros. I mean, what a classic.